Hi and welcome back. My name is Daniel and I'm back with a new exciting video. Ever wished you could write code, see results instantly, add notes, graphs, and even formulas all in one place? Then meet Jupyter Notebook. Jupyter Notebook is an open source web application that allows you to create and share documents that contain live code, equations, visualization, and narrative text. In your coding journey, you must have interacted with a number of code editors. In the list, we can talk of Visual Studio Code, Sublime Text, we have PyCharm, we have Vim, and many others. But in today's session, we are going to look at Jupyter Notebook from the installation, the importance, and the use cases. Okay, one of the importance of Jupyter Notebook is that it has a rich media integration whereby you can embed plots, images, videos, latex equations, and more. Another key importance is that it gives you an interactive coding experience. In here, you are able to write and execute code in chunks, which we are going to see are referred to as cells, making it easier to test, debug, and iterate through your code pretty quickly. It has a visualization driven development, which makes it very easy to make use of libraries such as matplotlib and seaborn, which are ideal for data analysis. All right. Having looked at the key importance of a Jupyter Notebook, we would want to see how to go about installing Jupyter Notebook on our machine. All right. So in this case, we are going to install Jupyter Notebook with a focus on using it with Python. Okay, so we are going to use Jupyter Notebook as a Python code editor. All right, so we are going to install Jupyter Notebook using the pip method. All right, so the first thing is to ensure that pip and Python are installed on your system. So the way to check for the installations of this, we have Python version. So that's how to go about checking it. But in my case, I'll use Python 3. So in case you check, for instance, Python and you see it's not installed, so you can check for Python 3. Okay, and should you find that Python or Python 3 is not installed, then be sure to watch the video above on how to go about setting up Python on your system. All right, once you confirm that Python is installed, the next thing is to proceed and check for the pip version. So to check if pip is installed, this is how to go about it. Okay, so you should see an output like this. So once we confirm that these two are there, then the next thing is executing a command that will have Jupyter Notebook installed on our system. So to install Jupyter Notebook on our system, this is how to do it. So we have pip install notebook. Once you have that, press enter and give it time to complete. So within no time, that has been installed. All right. So I'll navigate to my system and create a directory that I'll use for my notebooks. So I'll create a new folder here and name it notebook. So I have already navigated to my location of choice under desktop coding Python, then I have notebook. So I'll move into this directory that I just created, and in here I need to open my command prompt or my terminal here. Okay, so for those operating on Linux, you just need to right click and there is this option of open in terminal. All right, so in case you're operating on Windows, you simply need to click under this bar here. All right, then it should select everything that is there. So just on top of it, type cmd and press enter. It should open the command prompt under that location. Okay, then to start your Jupyter Notebook, you simply need to talk of Jupyter Notebook. All right, so press enter. what this does is that it creates a local server and opens an address on your browser. Okay, so this is what we have, and whenever you are making use of Jupyter Notebook, you need to ensure that this server is up and running. All right, so just don't interrupt whatever is happening here. Yours is now to continue and make use of the Jupyter Notebook here. Okay, so from this interface, I should be able to see a list of the files and directories within our directory. That is this directory under which we have opened our Jupyter Notebook from. All right. So now that we don't have anything under this directory, that's why we don't have anything populating here. Okay, so to create a new notebook, I just need to click on new. Then I select this option here, Python 3, IPY kernel. All right, then this is our first notebook, and this is where we are going to look at a number of things that we can do on Jupyter Notebook with Python. All right, so in here we can give our notebook a name. So I'll talk of introduction to Python and click on rename. Okay, so we see that it has saved those changes. So in here, the same syntax that we do in Python, for instance, I can talk of print. So we have print hello world. So we basically have a number of ways in which we can execute this code. So one of them is clicking on this button. So let me just click on it and we see that we get the output there. Okay, then we proceed and do something else. Let me also talk of print. Let me do some multiplication here. So we have print 10 times 20. Again, I can simply press on shift and enter, and that executes the code under that active cell. Remember, currently this is the active cell, and should I press on shift and enter, it will execute and create a new cell. All right. Okay, so moving on to print something else, I can talk of 10 plus 20 this time round. Okay, so there is another option here whereby I can press on control and enter, but this time it will execute the code under that cell but will not create a new cell. All right, in case you want to create a new cell, in this case you can simply click on this option down here. We have click to add a new cell. Okay, so I'll print we added a new cell. All right, again I'll press on control and enter. Again, it has executed that but has not created a new cell. So we can also make use of this option that we have here, okay, which can create a duplicate of what we have here. So I'll click on that, creates a duplicate. So we also have some options here whereby we can be able to change the position of this cell. So we can move this cell up, move it up again, move it up again. All right, and also looking at the other parameters is that for instance, let me work on this again. I can be able to create a new cell above or below the current cell. All right, so creating one above, I can do that and print something here. I'll execute that without creating a new one, but looking at another option here, I can insert a cell below. All right, and in case I'm not interested with the new cell created, I can just click on the delete button that is next to the cell you want to delete. All right, so those are some of the use cases. In case you are taking Python as a course, you can proceed in populating the rest of the commands that you have. All right, and whenever this is happening, we have this tab here, should be under code. All right, of course we have quite a number of options here, but it should be code, otherwise whatever you enter will not be interpreted as Python command. All right, so the next thing that I would want us to look at is how to go about creating and linking a virtual environment with a Jupyter Notebook. Remember, you might be working on a program, maybe data analysis, that requires matplotlib or pandas libraries. Okay, and these might happen to be in a virtual environment. Okay, so for you to best make use of a virtual environment, you need to follow this procedure. Okay, I'll go back to my terminal or my command prompt, whichever you have. Okay, so I'll stop this server here, okay, and confirm that I need to shut it down. Press enter. Alternatively, we also have another option in which we can shut that server down by just click on file, and we have the logout and the shutdown button here. So we can talk about shutdown. Okay, so back here, since it's not shutting down, I can click on Control C to fast track that process. Okay, so I'll proceed and create a virtual environment. Okay, so we have Python. So I'm using Python 3. So in your case, in case you are using Python, ensure that you have Python. All right, then -m. I'll have venv. Okay, then the name for my virtual environment, and that is, okay, so I'll name my virtual environment venv. Okay, if I look at what I have here, remember, this is our working directory. So we have introduction to Python, which we created during the demonstration. Okay, and now we have the venv. Okay, the next thing is to activate the virtual environment, and again, this varies from operating system. Okay, so on Linux, I'll have source, I'll have venv, which happens to be the name of my virtual environment. Then I'll have bin and activate. Okay, so for those on Windows, this is how to go about it. Just talk of venv. Okay, then we have the backslash. Okay, then have scripts, then have activate, and press enter. So something should change here. And of course, those on Mac OS should still use what I've used on Linux. Okay, so the next thing, once we do that, is installing a key package that will allow our virtual environment to be used as a Jupyter kernel. All right, so the way to do that, we have pip install. So we have this library here we call IPY kernel. The next thing after our package has been installed is to add the virtual environment as a kernel. All right, and again, this is how to go about it. I'll clear my screen and I'll have this command. Okay, so this is a command that we should use. That is Python m ipy kernel install user. Then we have the name. So you only need to replace this name with the name of the virtual environment that you created. Okay, so this can be different based on what you created. Okay, then the display name. This is the name that you will see, okay, when selecting the virtual environment. All right, so again, you can make use of whatever custom name that you prefer here, and of course this name must be unique within your environment. All right, so once we have that, let's press enter. Okay, and we see that something has been done. So the next thing to do is to proceed and launch our Jupyter Notebook again. Okay, so we have Jupyter Notebook, press enter, and we see a server opens and something happens here. Okay, so I previously had this. I'll close that. All right, and I'll also close that. Okay, so we want to continue and build up on what we had here. So I'll click on that. It opens up something here. Okay, but then we want to make use of the current virtual environment. All right, so even before we do that, I would want to try and import pandas. All right, so I'll move here, talk of new cell below. All right, I'll talk of import pandas. Okay, then I'll press on shift, enter. Give it time, seems that is installed. Okay, I want to refer to a library that does not exist. Okay, so let me talk of. Okay, so we see that that is not installed yet. Okay, so I'll try to install this module. I will stop my server, confirm that. Okay, and sitting on the current virtual environment, I'll install matplotlib here. So I'll have pip install mat. Okay, interesting stuff. Okay, of course I wanted to install this particular one, so and give it some time. So after a few seconds, matplotlib has been installed. So I'll open the Jupyter Notebook again. That creates a server, and we have this one popping up. I'll leave that, and I'll also leave that. Okay, so this particular one, I'll click on this notebook. Okay, and in here we had import. So I have that, and I'll do that. Okay, we still see that matplotlib is not installed. All right, despite having created the virtual environment, and we went ahead to install matplotlib in that virtual environment. But remember, Jupyter Notebook works slightly different from other code editors. Okay, so the way to change to the virtual environment that we created, I'll navigate to this location here, click on that. Okay, so in this drop down, I'll click on Python virtual environment. Remember, there is a custom name that we set up when we were adding the virtual environment as a kernel. All right, so this is the name that we gave, and that is the name that we need to select here. Once we select that, let's click on select. All right, so let's go back to this cell and press on Shift Enter. Okay, and we see that it has been executed, meaning that it has been imported. All right, so to make use of some libraries, I'll paste in some code here. Okay, I'll press enter, and of course pandas as well is not installed within this virtual environment. So I'll go back here, open a new terminal, and activate the virtual environment. So out of source, then out of pip install pandas. Okay, so having installed pandas, let's come back here and execute this again. Okay, so we now see that seaborn is the one that is not installed. So I'll go back, install seaborn instead. All right, and within some few seconds, it has been installed. So back here, I'll do that, and we see that our Jupyter Notebook is now happy. Okay, then I'll make use of the seaborn's built-in dataset and load some data here. So I'll have this. Okay, I can have df.head just to see a snippet of the first 5 rows of this data here. All right, then looking at the display, this gives a great visual impression when dealing with data. Okay, then in the new cell, I would want to create some new visualization. Let's see how Jupyter Notebook works. Okay, so look at how these things are displayed, looking so great. All right, I'll also do another visualization here. Okay, look at how they are. And finally, I'll have the last one here. See how powerful Jupyter Notebook is. All right, so again, once you are done with your work, you can always click on this save button. Okay, so we are saving and creating a checkpoint. All right, so I'll shut down my local server, shut it down. All right, and also maybe I open that, close that. All right, so the next time you want to continue from where you left, so I'll do that. Okay, so I'll go back to the directory containing my code. Okay, so I'll open my terminal or the command prompt under that location. Okay, then the first thing should be activating my virtual environment, that is if at all I'm using it. Okay, so out of VNV bin activate. Okay, and remember, if you're not using the virtual environment, then you don't need to activate it. All right, then we proceed and have Jupyter Notebook. Press enter and a server will open. Okay, so in case you have quite a number of notebooks here, you have them listed here. But for now, I'm interested with Introduction to Python. So here we are. So the other thing, in case you are making use of a virtual environment, remember to switch it here, if at all it's not the one that is active. Okay, so for now, Python virtual environment, this is what we created. Then you can proceed with your work. So in case, for instance, you left at this point, okay, and you want to proceed. Okay, so let me see. For instance, there is this df here. Okay, so in case, for instance, I want to view the head again. Let's see. That doesn't work because it is not defined. But then, to ensure that I execute all the cells so that I can have reference to the variables that I defined up there, there is this button. So I'll just click on this, confirm, restart. Things happen. Just give it time. You can see the asterisk here. And once everything works, then go back here and talk of df head. All right, excited? So Jupyter Notebook remains an essential tool, most especially for someone in data science, machine learning, and research fields. So I believe this video was helpful. Be sure to give it a thumbs up, drop your experience in the comment section, and remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you and goodbye.